And so to answer a question that somebody left, Melanie left, on one of my other videos, asking about my tradition, my teachers, my spiritual journey. And I've not always been a deeply spiritual person. I've always been inquiring. I come from quite a traditional working class background in the northwest of England. And life happens. There have been quite a few tragedies, I have to say, in my life as I grow up. Quite a lot of people passing, people dying, which is all part of this life. And particularly in my 20s, when I was in my 20s, I was suffering quite badly from asthma. It's a condition that I've had all of my life, and the asthma was getting worse. And this is at the same time that it was a particularly traumatic period as well in my life. And it seems sometimes all these things come together towards a head, and I found myself living quite a destructive lifestyle. So moving up towards my 30th birthday, and I wasn't that interested in life. It seems that I'd withdrawn from life, but I knew somewhere at the back of my mind that there was more to this life. And I sort of found out about yoga quite by accident. There's a family member of mine that I used to take to yoga as part of a therapy, part of a healing. And so I'd got a little idea of yoga, but I just didn't take it seriously. And so, to go back to my asthma, to my health problems, the doctor wanted to double all the medication that I was on. And I asked him, is there another alternative? And he quite simply said, no, Andrew, you've got asthma, you need to learn to live with your asthma. So I took myself across the road from where the doctor's was to the library. I got a book out of the library on breathing practices. I didn't even know it was yoga. So it's quite unusual, I think, in the yoga tradition to move into the practice purely from a breathing, a breath work, from a pranayama side of the practice. And I did just that on my own, without a teacher, without a yoga class. I practiced this breathing, and it had quite a profound effect upon me physically with my asthma. Within weeks, I was reducing instead of increasing the medication. But more than that, much more than that, there's quite a profound effect on my life, the way that I viewed my life, the way I approached my life. And I went back to the library. Instead of a breathing book, I got I didn't borrow the book. Sometimes libraries sell old, broken and battered books, and I happened upon a book called Light on Yoga by Mr. Iyengar, and diligently, lovingly, day by day, I practiced. I wasn't particularly flexible, but I was moved to practice, and my body started to change. I started to feel more at ease with my body, and so I practiced the different postures, the different asanas, and this drew me into the philosophy of yoga as well. And so I really found an appetite. I didn't go to any classes. I think it was about 2 or 3 years of just practicing on my own and without any agenda. I wasn't looking for some goal. It was just, I knew it was just a means for me to access that quieter state. And in that quieter state, so I found an enrichment to life. I eventually went to classes, yoga classes, but you know what? I didn't like them. The teacher didn't resonate with me. So I went back to just practicing at home. And as the months, even the years rolled by, I took myself back out to other classes, and I found a teacher that was different. Alistair, his name is. He's still a good friend of mine. because he talked about energy. He spoke about how do you feel. It wasn't just a physical process. And I used to go to Alistair's classes. From there, I wanted to explore deeper into the yoga tradition, and really the only way back then was to take up a teacher training. I didn't want to be a yoga teacher. I've been in the building trade, I've been a landscape gardener, and I love that. I wasn't looking for a different career. And back then, it wasn't particularly a trendy job being a yoga teacher. It was quite a quirky existence. But I did a foundation course with the British Wheel of Yoga, and then that led to the teacher training. So all in all, 4 years of training, part-time, once a month. But it's not just training to teach the yoga, there's a personal development aspect. And so by now I was fully immersed in the yoga, the yoga tradition. And physically I felt the benefits. My asthma, it was barely there. These days I don't take any medication. And I become hungry. It become a passion. And Alistair, he was my teacher back in the northwest where I lived, and he still is, a good friend. And I remember asking him, there must be more. I'd seen these books and seen these videos of India and these wild, crazy looking yogis with dreadlocks smeared in ash, standing on mountains in the dawn of the day, and I wanted that. So I asked Alistair, where can I go deeper? And he said, I think it's time that you met Clive. Clive was one of his teachers from when he studied in Byron Bay in Australia. And this guy, Clive Sheridan, his name, he was doing a workshop in the south of England. And this was back in a part of my life where I didn't really travel. I was a family man, young children. And so it was quite a big thing to get the train from the northwest right down to the southwest, down to Devon. And I went to this workshop, and let me just say that I've been to many, many workshops, seen a lot of different people, and I'd sit in front of them and sort of quite arrogant if I look back now, I'd sit there right in front of them, give it to me, let me see. And nobody really resonated with me. I'd not heard anything, I'd not felt anything that I'd not already read myself or heard myself. So I sat down in front of Clive, and then within moments I knew this is what I'd been looking for. And it's not the persona, I don't put anybody up upon a pedestal, but in a way it's what moves through these people, and there was a truth to it. Clive's from the Advaita Vedanta and Tantra philosophies, and then I stayed with the same teacher. And I suppose I can impart a little bit of advice to you here. When you find somebody that resonates with you, when you find a teacher or a tradition, stick with it. There can be a tendency to be fully enthused with a particular teacher or tradition, and then you change. That buzz sort of softens a little, and you're looking for another buzz in another teacher, in another tradition. Well, my advice is stay with that teacher. I've been with Clive now, I don't know, 20 maybe years now, and I still go on to his workshops. I've just been on one now in Freiburg in Germany, which was delightful. And so that's my spiritual story. I'm still drawn to the asana. I still like to move my body, but the pranayama, the breathing, and the philosophy is my passion too. And if you want me to share a little bit more of the physical, let me know in the comments. I never really put any of my physical practice up onto the channel, but if you're interested, I'm happy to share my practice, my tradition with you. So that's my story. Let me know about your story. Let me know what you want to maybe hear from me. It's a two-way process. If you like the video, subscribe if you're not already subscribing, contribute. I'd love to have more opportunity and time to dedicate to this channel. So thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to my story.